All right, so back again with another one of these videos where I predict every single game, and we don't have that many left, only 3 weeks worth of games, plus an extra couple because I won't be able to make this on Wednesday. I'm traveling, so have to make this now. But I figured this could be fun. I think, we're really getting into the thick of things now. So the way this works is I'm going to predict every game using the great ESPN Playoff Machine. I highly recommend, Google ESPN Playoff Machine, have some fun there. And then I punch into results and see who ends up in which seeding. It's always fun to do, so let's just get into it. So first things first, just these are the picks I had. I'm not going to go through each one, but just in case you're curious why a certain team ended up somewhere, you can go back to this page and look for yourself and see why they're there. Anyways, so let's start with the NFC. This is what I have as the NFC. I have the Packers still with the 1 seed. Currently, they're a game ahead of everyone, and I don't have them losing, which makes some sense. So I currently have, really kind of fascinating. With 1 through 4, you see all of these teams are really neck and neck. I mean, anything could happen with these 4 teams. I have them all within 1 game of that 1 seed. So interesting stuff there. You're going to notice the Cardinals I have dropping a bit. I actually have them going 11-6. They're a team that I had doing pretty well consistently, but I think that the DeAndre Hopkins injury hurts them. I really do. And while he might be back for the playoffs, that doesn't, matter for this stuff. I have them losing to the Dallas Cowboys now, where earlier I had them beating the Dallas Cowboys. I have them losing to the Colts now, where earlier I have them beating the Colts. Still have them winning their last game against the Seahawks, but still, that's 11-6, and they would play Tampa Bay, and what a game that would be for a first-round matchup. Tough draw for both those teams, especially if DeAndre Hopkins is healthy. I have the Saints now making the playoffs as the 6th seed, actually. Them and San Francisco, I have both going 10-7 here. So those would be the 2 wild card spots. Let's now look at the NFC as a whole. We'll start with the NFC East. So Washington and Philadelphia are both, I have them splitting against each other. For the past few weeks, I kind of flip-flopped with each of them. I think I had Washington winning both 1 week, Philadelphia winning both 1 week. So I decided to just have them split the 2 games that are remaining at this point. So if one of them can win them both, that does change things, as that would make them 9-8. Although that is not enough currently to be a playoff team, according to what I have now, because I have the Saints currently winning out, whereas in the past, I think I had them losing at least another game there. For the NFC West, again, 3 very good teams with the Rams, the Cardinals, and the 49ers. Nothing too crazy there. Seahawks have an outside chance, but I don't really think it's that realistic that they will get in. To the NFC North, listen, Green Bay obviously very good, no surprise there. Minnesota is another team who I like their roster. They just have a tough schedule coming up. They lost too many games they had no business losing early on, and if they had won those games, they're probably, in the driver's seat for a playoff spot. But as I have it right now, even if the Saints drop a game, I still have, or even if the Vikings can upset someone, that wouldn't be enough according to what I have here, so kind of interesting. I also have, going to the NFC South, the Atlanta Falcons they're not completely out of it. I mean, if they were able to beat the New Orleans Saints week 17, that does make a big difference. That makes them, with 8 wins, and the Saints now with just 9. So if Atlanta can also beat Buffalo, that would be their pathway to the playoffs. Looking really tough for them. I think it's very unlikely, but there is at least, a chance there. But realistically, I think New Orleans probably has it. I think that they have a good shot at making the postseason here. Now moving on to the AFC, the Kansas City Chiefs I have as the 1 seed. Always nice to see an underdog come out on top, right? I mean, pretty crazy how, despite this tumultuous season, I have them winning out and getting the 1 seed. Granted, 1 slip up, the Patriots are right there, but even the Patriots, I mean, there's not a ton of teams outside of that I think have a great threat to Kansas City. So yes, I have Kansas City winning all 3 games. Who knows what will actually happen? It could go the other way, but there's a very good chance that this does end up happening and the Chiefs do end up with that 1 seed. They still play the Steelers, who have given teams trouble. They play the Bengals, who are not a slouch, and they play the Broncos, who are not a slouch. So it could go wrong, but I kind of like this as them being the 1 seed as well. Patriots 2. I have Tennessee still going 11-6 and winning the division. They have not the toughest schedule, even though they are banged up. I have Cincinnati as the 4 seed with Indianapolis as the 5 seed, who would be a team that has a better record, despite playing a team that, has a worse record. The Bengals would beat a home team in that one, given the divisional situation, although the Colts would tie the Titans for a division lead there. 6th seed is going to be the Chargers here, who at some points I've had as the 1 seed in certain, iterations of this type of video. Not this time. They're the 6th seed. And then Buffalo still makes the playoffs, despite the fact I have them losing to New England next week. I have them winning the next 2 games and getting in as the 7th seed. And what a wild, playoff game that would be if the Patriots and Bills were to meet up in the wild card round. Another tough draw. I mean, really, all 7 of these teams are really good, and there's even more teams that are good who I don't have making it. In fact, let's go over there to the teams that are good who I don't have making it. So first, AFC East. I do have Miami actually losing out here because they have a tough schedule. In the past, I had Miami at certain points beating the Saints in this matchup, but as more information has come out, and I think the Saints have a little bit found their groove, perhaps. This is why I have them beating Miami. Miami just has a tough schedule. It is what it is. Like, they had their easy part of the schedule, which is where they got all their wins in this win streak, which has been impressive, and they still beat, like, the Ravens. It's not like they've only beaten scrubs. But are they going to beat the Titans and the Patriots and the Saints? They could, but I'm going to bet on no. Going down to the AFC West, again, you have Las Vegas, who another team were bit of a tough schedule here, and they kind of have to win out if they're going to realistically have a chance. I don't think 9-8 will. I'd be surprised if 9-8 was enough in this loaded AFC. I think even 10-7 might not be enough for someone. I could see that as a possibility, but they really do need to win out. Big win against Cleveland though. That's a step, and same thing with Denver. They need to win out. I have them losing out, so that's a bit of a tough. Tough climb to have there. In the AFC North, it's interesting so I had Baltimore a couple weeks ago missing the playoffs, and I was like, this feels like a hot take. I don't know about Baltimore missing the playoffs. Well, as of right now, if the season ended today, they would be missing the playoffs, and I don't think it's crazy. Now, I just have them 1 game out, so anything can certainly happen. I think if they beat Cincinnati next week, this immediately skyrockets them into potentially winning the division. It's that close. And if everything else holds the same as what I have it, I'd have Cincinnati beating Baltimore, so Baltimore would end up with the division lead. So it is very close, but I do think Baltimore, largely due to kind of a tough schedule and mostly due to injuries, I wouldn't be shocked if they do miss the postseason. Cleveland's another team where they're just in a tough spot. Like, I have them losing to Cincinnati week 18, which is the final week. I could see that going either way, and if it does, then we have a 3-way tie for the AFC North, so that would be fun. So there's still hope for all 3 of those teams. I do have Cincinnati as a slight edge, but that could absolutely go either way. And then finally, in the AFC South here, I have the Titans winning 2 of their last 3, which, it's possible that doesn't happen. The Titans are kind of a real wild card, I feel like. I have them losing to San Francisco. I then have them beating Miami and Houston, which I feel like those feel like they should be favored in those. But, I can conceive of a world where the Dolphins beat the Titans. I don't think that that's out of the question. And if it does, the Colts would end up as the division winner there, and the Titans would then go on to be a wild card team, and they would have to play probably the AFC North team. Although actually, if this would hold, and that did happen, what would happen is the Colts would be the 3 seed, and the Titans would be the 6 seed, meaning they'd play each other in round 1. That would be fun as well. Those divisional matchup playoff games, always fun, I think. But yeah, interesting stuff. I always like this late in the season, see where teams are at. This is what I think. What do you guys think? Do you agree with how I put this there? Do you disagree? Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.